Hey everyone, Chloe here and welcome back to another video and welcome back to my channel. And if you are a new subscriber to our soft power community, then hello and hi and welcome. So I wanted to respond and to weigh in on a couple of trending videos in regards to the church and to Black women and their singleness, and on the idea, does the Black church set up Black women to fail? And does the Black church keep women single on purpose?
The church is keeping Christian women single, and this is why there are so many Christian single women at the church, literally single for years, not getting married, not getting any type of dates, not getting any type of attention. While they are serving at church, they're doing all the right things on paper. They might be in great physical shape. They might have their healing journey all, through and through. They're doing the inner work. They're doing all that. They are focused. They are focused on Christ. They've been focused on Christ for years. They have been doing the things that people have been telling them to do for years, yet they're still single, have no candidates, have nobody looking in their direction. Let me tell you something. The church does not teach Christian women how to date. The church does not teach Christian women to date at all. What they tell us to do is to sit with our hands in our laps and to wait for a man to come at our door. That is not biblically wise. Faith without works is dead, and that applies to every area of our life. If you have a job and you lose that job, are you just going to sit and pray for God to send you a new job and then just stay at home and not apply for a single job? No. If you lose your job, you're going to pray, Lord, please bless me with another job. Of course, there's the faith. But then after that, you're going to go searching for a job. You're going to be applying for jobs, and you're going to pray that God will bless you with the right job. If all you're doing is sitting at home doing 1,000 prayers for your future spouse, you are fasting, you are praying, you're doing all these other things, but you're not actually putting any practical works into dating, more times than not, you are not going to find yourself.
Now, I get asked this question all the time about the Black church, but everyone's church leadership is different. But I think that it is safe to say that the delulu, magical thinking days of sitting around and expecting a provider husband to fall into your lap are long, long gone.
I'm almost afraid to make this video because I know it's going to be some backlash. But I'm starting to believe that the church is keeping Black women single on purpose. I am starting to believe that the Black church is keeping Black women single. And what I mean by that is, I want to believe in my heart of hearts that when churches have Women's Day, have women's conferences, when you go to these women empowerment, conferences, and they are allowing people to be vulnerable and transparent, and they are sharing how they healed from certain things and how God's word helped them to heal, which is true. I'm trying to figure out why we are almost intentionally leaving out that God's word also says that a man is a woman's covering, and a husband is part of, or should be part of, an honorable, godly life. None of that is ever mentioned in a lot of these spaces. There are more women in the church than men. I don't have a problem with women being in leadership because that's needed today. But when I'm watching women that are in positions of power and in positions of leadership in the church, but I'm not hearing you talk about how important the family structure is and how important a covering is and how a woman is created to be a helpmeet and a neck, and the man is supposed. When I don't hear those things talked about almost intentionally, is that because I want these women single? Am I the only one that is starting to feel this way?
Now, if you're one of the lucky ones, sometimes a woman will get a head start on attracting a provider husband by already having the Mrs. Degree mindset in place. Or sometimes a woman will know how to be a wife and she will know how to attract quality husband material based on what was modeled to her by her mother and her grandmother. But unfortunately, a lot of women are not taught how to be wife material until they are being judged and devalued for being single when they are way into their 30s and 40s and 50s and sometimes even their 60s, which in many cases causes women to crash out, or they start to panic and scramble and settle, and in many cases bargain, or they will forego romantic relationships altogether. due to this lack of preparation that is often engineered or wholesale ignored by the Black church. And unfortunately, the church as a collective does a very lousy job when it comes to the needs of their congregants in shaping both husbands and wives. And the disconnect with the Black church and getting Black women married is palpable, and as a church body, single women are expected to just sit back and endure. Now, for a mini lesson, who is the sheltered church girl? A church girl is basically a woman who was raised, influenced, and to a degree indoctrinated into the ways of her family's religion. Church girls will normally attend faith services, in some cases Bible study up to 5 to 7 days a week, and will often only fraternize with other members of her church, leaving very little room for exposure to the outside world. And here are 4 of the most common pitfalls of being a church girl. Number 1, a sheltered existence and very limited interaction with the outside world. Church girls, for the most part, do not understand the ways of the world, the hood, the ghetto, the streets, and all of the main characters that come with the hustlers, the players, the hood rats, the scammers, common thieves, the project chicks, and the narcissists. These people can also be found in the church, but will generally use religion as a mask. Number 2, very limited experience and exposure with cultural capital, which comes from the outside world of exposure. The arts, wine, coffee, travel, modern dance, fitness, documentaries, film, the opera, technology, fashion, and other reference points of creativity that contribute to having range, depth, and substance, because the Bible cannot be your only reference point. Number 3, the church girl's lack of exposure to the outside world will often result in her being super naive, easily duped, and tricked by chameleons, taken advantage of by users and grifters, and will generally make you a magnet for opportunists. The church often does not teach relationship skill sets like polarity and emotional intelligence and social awareness and reading the room, nor does it educate its parishioners on how power dynamics between the masculine divine and the feminine divine work. Number 4, limited hypergamous dating experience. The chances of meeting an ambitious, successful, driven provider, church boy, who is saving himself for marriage are very, very slim to none. Church boys are indoctrinated as well, because most church boys aren't being taught masculinity, they aren't being taught business or entrepreneurship from a young age, and therefore they are more inclined to be feminine leaning men than they are masculine leaders. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with believing in the God of your understanding, but simply put, if you do not want to be a naive church girl, if you do not want to sit around twiddling your thumbs waiting for a husband to fall into your lap, you will have to step up your cookies when it comes to getting a feminine education, because the goal of being a feminine woman is not only to become a wife if that is what you want, or to look the feminine part, because there are millions of women who look the feminine part. But the ultimate goal of soft power, whether you are single or married, in the femininity lane is to become a self-actualized woman with depth, with range, with beauty, with substance, and a confidence that makes you magnetic, interesting, and memorable. And go figure, that is when a man will typically fall in love with a woman who has made herself a catch. You have to do the cycle breaking work, ladies. And I've said this in so many of my videos before, but I will say it again. It is not a woman's job to find a husband, but it will always be her job to make herself a feminine wife, if that is what she wants. So to get this conversation started, is it the church's responsibility to create a dating and marriage marketplace for their single congregants? And as always, I thank you for watching, for liking, and sharing the videos on this channel to further grow our soft power community. And please stay tuned for more feminine school videos to come. And I will catch up with you ladies and lurkers and ear hustlers in the next one.